Hey everyone, it is so good to have you here joining me. For many of you, you're going to be watching the recording. This is the third time that I have done this webinar, and the first two times we have had a few technology glitches. But one of my sayings is, it's all good. Something that I learned from one of my mentors many years ago, and technology will do that for you. But the show goes on, and the content that we're sharing today, I know, is going to be incredibly valuable. So let me start the presentation. I'm going to say goodbye now from having my camera on, and let's get started. So today I want to be talking to you about 5 reasons that are stopping you from attracting and enrolling high-paying clients, as well as being recognized as an industry thought leader. Many of the clients and people that I speak with, they have got a level of expertise through the years of experience, through their knowledge, through their qualifications, their certifications, yet they're struggling to really be seen as that thought leader. And I'll be sharing what you need to be doing instead so that you can position yourself as that authority, as that go-to person, as well as being paid what you're worth, something that I know many people struggle with. So who are you? Well, you've been in business for a while, and if you have, I want to ask you, are you happy with the results that you've been generating? Now, keep this to yourself. You don't necessarily need to type this into the comment box, unless, of course, you want to, and to share it, because sometimes when we do the physical typing or the writing down, we're really able to achieve breakthroughs through that, because once we acknowledge something, then we're able to take different actions to get different results. But if you think about the results you've been getting in visibility, in your authority, and even in profitability, the income that you are generating in your business, are you happy with the results? Or maybe you're just thinking about starting your business or planning on starting your business, and you want to make sure that you have everything in place in order to build visibility, your authority, and profitability as that thought leader. Let's face it, business can be daunting, can't it? And some of these things you may be able to resonate with as well. Many of my clients certainly have. Don't know where to start. It is confusing. There is so much to do. It's overwhelming. There are so many new gadgets and widgets and tools and technologies that are being added to the marketplace that we can leverage in our business. And when we think of all the social media platforms, it's like, oh my goodness, where do I start? Maybe you've been marketing your business for a while and you've been doing all of the things that you think you've been told to do, but guess what? No one is listening. Or maybe you've tried so many things and you're frustrated because nothing is working. Maybe you've started to generate a bit of interest, congratulations. But guess what? Then you have to have that sales call, and maybe for you, selling your services is scary and you hate it. Well, guess what? I used to hate sales as well, but absolutely love them now. But if that sounds like you are in the right place. You're in the right place as well. If you want to make a much bigger impact in the world with your message, you want to be recognized as that industry thought leader and become that go-to person in your field. You want to be that influential voice. And you not only want to increase your visibility and authority, but you also want to increase your profitability, because you want to attract higher paying clients and sell more higher level service programs and offerings. Now, guess what? You may not realize it, but it takes exactly the same amount of energy to enroll a client in a low paying offering, such as a home study program, a do-it-yourself program, than it does if you are enrolling someone in your higher paying programs and offerings. It takes the same amount of energy. So wouldn't you rather be speaking with people who are your ideal clients and who are saying yes to your ideal programs and offerings? I'm sure the answer is yes. But you know what the reality is, and here's the real fear that so many of my clients and people in my community share with me. But Anne-Marie, you know what? I feel like I'm an imposter. And for some of you, when I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, this masterclass, the word thought leader, how many of you, now be honest now, were thinking, I'm not really a thought leader. How can I position myself as a thought leader? Who do I think I am to be able to speak into this area with authority? I mean, how many of you, did you think that? Be honest now. There's something else that you may be experiencing too, is looking at other people in your industry who are offering similar services to you, and you're comparing what you're currently doing with what they're doing, and you're thinking, how can I compete? How can I start to share more about my services and what I can offer when these other people, they're doing incredible things in the industry? How can I compete with that? And then there's something else which is closely related to imposter syndrome, and that's the tall poppy syndrome. And that is when we do start to step up, we do start to stand out, we do start to share our message, and guess what happens? We get criticism. We get people who don't know us that really start to criticize us in a very negative and personal way, almost trying to degrade us, because they're envious of what we're doing and what we're achieving. And for some of you, you may not be sharing your message in a bigger way because of the fear of standing out. But you know deep down that you've got this message and you've got this drive to impact many people. Now, another reality may be some of the business struggles, which are so common today: standing out, being seen, being heard from all of the noise and clutter that's online and offline. What about capturing and maintaining attention of your ideal client, and maybe even some key stakeholders who you really want to get your message in front of, because you know that in collaboration, you're going to both be able to benefit and make a much bigger impact in the world. But guess what? Your message is not being seen or being heard because people are busy and we have limited time spans. And what about all of the other people in your industry? How are you going to stand out? How's your message going to be different? But what if people were noticing and engaging with you because your message, the content that you were sharing, both online and offline, stood out? And you were being recognized as a thought leader, someone who was speaking real truths into the industry, someone who is challenging the status quo, someone who, as you shared your message, people were coming up to you and saying, we've been waiting for someone to speak out and share what you've been sharing. Thank you. And what if you were capturing interest from your message and you were generating leads and inquiries from what you were sharing, and conversations were fun and prospective clients were saying yes? What impact would that have on your life and on your business? What impact would that have on your life and in your business? And for many of my clients and people I speak to, there's one word that is often very similar, and that's the word freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom to make decisions about where we want to go on holiday, the time that I want to take off, the time that I want to spend with my family, what I could do with my, and support my family if I had those things. And that may be the same for you as well. So who am I? My name is Anne-Marie Cross. Let me just share with you, if we have not already met, it is a pleasure to connect. Now, I've been dubbed the podcasting queen. It is not a name that I gave myself. Someone said, how did you come up with that? That's brilliant. And I would love to take credit, but I can't, because often what would happen in the past is many of my guests and even colleagues, people in my network, because they could see how passionate I was around using the technology of podcasting, they would often say, you need to go and talk to Anne-Marie. She's the queen of podcasting. And a couple of years ago, I decided to get over myself and embrace the title. And so I became known as the podcasting queen. So recognized as an industry thought leader in that area. I'm the CEO and founder of Ambitious Entrepreneur Network. That's our podcast production platform. An award-winning host and producer, podcast trainer and mentor, and also a strategist, mentor and coach. And I now help change makers become industry thought leaders, helping them build their visibility, their authority and profitability. And my tagline is from invisible to influential. And so some of the things that I've recognized and why I share this is because so often, we hear people who are sharing content on masterclasses and webinars, and the content that they're sharing, they haven't actually, to be honest, done it themselves. Yet everything that I'm sharing with you today, I have implemented and I have shown clients to implement. And so I guess what I'm doing is just kind of validating that the things that I'm sharing, they work, because it's worked for me, they've worked with clients, and I know that they'll work for you too. So if you look at some of my milestones that I've selected to share, multi-award-winning brand and communication strategist. My background has been for decades in the career industry as a personal branding strategist, working with executives and professionals all over the world. And also, most recently, in the last number of years, I've won an award for the best podcast in marketing, entrepreneurship, and business. So an award-winning podcast host and producer. My podcast, so the way in which I share my content, yes, I do use a podcast as a very important platform, and that's been able to secure speaking opportunities on global summits alongside other multi-six and seven-figure business experts. Now, podcasting is just a platform. It's what you share on that. So the message, everything that I'm sharing with you today, you'll be able to implement. It doesn't matter if you don't necessarily yet have a podcast. I've been able to build my influence and reach globally, and it's secured high-paying clients. So I know that this works. Something else that happened a number of years ago now was the digital online footprint that I created, and the podcasts were the cornerstone of my content, caught the attention of Microsoft Australia, and subsequently they offered me an opportunity to become an influencer, a service brand ambassador for their company for 12 months, where they flew myself and a small handful of other brand ambassadors across Australia for various trainings to learn more about Microsoft and of course, the Surface Pro. That would not have happened were it not for the content that I was sharing, the positioning, the engagement, everything that I was doing online. And of course, I love sharing what I did with all of my clients and with you here today so that you can generate that kind of success, that kind of recognition for your expertise and ultimately turn that into high-paying clients. Through that and over the years, I've developed a suite of products and services that clients are investing in, do it yourself, done with you, done for you. That's actually something you want to consider as you're moving forward in your business. Do you have a range of offerings? And we're going to talk about that in a moment, a little bit later on in the masterclass. But I have to be honest with you, it wasn't always like that. In fact, I didn't have programs and offerings way back when I started my business in the career consultancy. I was still charging by the hour. And the telephone conversation would often start like this. The phone would ring and I would say my name and I'd introduce myself. And someone would say to me, "Hi, I'm very interested in some career coaching or resume development. How much do you charge?" So I would tell them. And that conversation would often end with, "Thanks very much, just ringing around. I'll get back to you if I want to progress. Bye." And then they would hang up. And guess what? I never heard from them again. So if that's something that you're doing currently, or if the sales conversation is really something you would rather not do, then stick around. Now, whilst I became highly skilled in branding and communications and podcasting, I still struggled to generate thought leadership recognition. And that was because I'm someone who loves learning. I'm a continual learner, but I would go to course after course, certification after certification, and I continuously learned and learned and learned, but I never really, if I'm honest with myself, applied it consistently. I didn't do that, and I would be running around, having incredible fun, learning lots, but never applying them. And whilst I had a number of processes and systems in place, what I didn't have was them integrated. And what I mean was that everything in my business was supporting one another. So I never built the momentum that I needed to grow in business. And I often felt like I was reinventing the wheel. So what would happen? I would get bored and then I'd go on to the next shiny thing. And that became a regular cycle. And when I look back, what ended up happening was that impacted my self-esteem and my confidence, because I thought people don't want to invest in what I'm doing. Yet I'm going to all these courses and the knowledge that I can share with people is incredible. Because a lot of my mentors were award-winning, mentors and in their industry. But the reason wasn't because people didn't want to invest in what I was offering. It's just the way that I was talking about it and how I was positioning myself wasn't seen as a thought leader. So that is an aha for many of you. You've got a level of expertise that no one else can even hope to achieve. Yet the way you're positioning it is the reason why people are not seeing that short thought leadership. So what I learned, everything that I'm sharing today, I did have to learn through trial and error. So what I promise to give you today is the highlights version of the insights and the hindsights that I learned and now support clients with. And some of my clients have gone on to double and even triple their results. But I'll do that minus the tears and frustrations. We do have a lot of content to talk about today. And one of the things that you probably realize already, when I get passionate about a certain topic, and today's topic is one that I'm passionate about, I talk quickly, and I talk quickly anyway. And one of my mentors once said, and I'm borrowing her saying, she said, I don't talk fast, you just listen slowly. So I promise that I will slow down my talking. You just fasten up, you just quicken up the pace of listening, and I think we'll be able to meet in a happy medium. So here are some of the things I want to share today. Why you feel like the world's best kept secret. And doing more marketing is not the answer. If you're thinking about Facebook ads, Instagram ads, doing more Facebook lives, maybe even launching a podcast, just hold on for a moment. Don't do that yet. There's things you need to have in place before you decide to do some of those marketing tactics. I want to share 3 common ways that many businesses introduce themselves. And what ends up happening is it negatively impacts their reputation. So don't do these things. And I'll share with you what you should be doing. We're going to talk about why you're not generating much interest in your services, even if your ideal client who's sitting in the audience or maybe in the networking event who desperately needs your support, why they're not recognizing that you have a solution to their struggles, why it's practically impossible to generate clients from your sales conversations, and you should stop doing any of these. More discovery calls, curious conversations, coffee chats, unless you have these things in place first. This is a huge learning curve for me, because many of us who've gone to our training, certifications and coaching, we're told to implement some of these, but what ends up happening is we start coaching people. So I want to share with you some ways in which you can transform your discovery calls, curious conversations and coffee chats to help them work for you. I'll also share with you one tool that you need to have in place. Otherwise, you'll continue to struggle with the uphill lead generation battle. And really, lead generation is about, sharing your message, and those people who resonate with that message, who are your ideal clients, they step forward, they put up their hand and say, yes, I want to learn more from you. So why you feel like the world's best kept secret. You know how you get your certification and you're open for business? I know that I did this. I attended networking events because people told me you need to attend networking events. Then I was told you need to get on social media. So guess what? I went on social media. Then I was told you need to create blog posts, content. And I was publishing content on a weekly basis, my newsletter on a weekly basis. Then people said you need to do a Facebook ad. So I did those as well. You must, do video. Now, I love podcasting, audio podcasts, because I have a saying, you never have a bad hair day with an audio podcast. But then I started to do Facebook Lives. Mind you, they have been a lot of fun. Maybe you can resonate with this. Then you're told you need to write a book. You need to have a podcast. You need to get on Facebook, or you fill in the gap. It is exhausting. So we end up doing more and more and more of those aspects of things. But guess what? More marketing is not the answer. Now, I want to share with you 3 stages of business growth. This was an absolute eye-opener for me and many of the people who I've just taken through the lean stage, building foundation, because so many businesses don't spend the time on building the foundations. What they do spend time on is what I call the tactics. This is the second stage of business where we're leveraging and we're building momentum. So we write a book, we start a podcast, we speak, we do Facebook ads and other paid advertising. We hire a lean team, to help us because we know we're not going to build our business if we're trying to do everything on our own. Now, don't get me wrong. All of these things, they're valuable. They are valuable. But if we focus on these first, it's in the wrong order. It's in the wrong order. So maybe many of you who are listening and watching today or the recording, you've been focusing on the tactics first. And you need to really take a step back first and start to build these lean stages, the foundations. And I'm going to talk about what those are in a moment. But before we do, we're going to talk about the 3 common ways businesses introduce themselves, and it's negatively impacting their reputation. Now, I want to give you 3 examples, and then we're going to go back and share why these are not the best way. So I might say something, I'm going to use myself as an example. Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Cross. I'm a brand and communication strategist. Here's another way. Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Cross. I'm a brand and communication strategist, and I work with businesses who are struggling with their marketing. Or a third way, hi, and I'm Anne-Marie Cross. I'm a brand and communication strategist, and I work with businesses who are struggling with their marketing by helping them with their positioning statements, their online assets, and their customer lead generation funnels. Let's have a look at why they are not the best approach. Now, the first was where I gave my title. I'm a brand and communication strategist. Your job title is not who you are and what distinguishes you and how you can support your clients with the value you offer. And I give an example. Often I do a lot of work with life coaches or even accountants as well. When we say our job title, hi, I'm a life coach, there's 2 things that happen. Number one, people may not be aware of what a life coach is. So what they do is they file you and your business in that I don't really know what you're talking about, so I'll just put you in a folder it's not really relevant for me. The second is that they may know what a life coach is because of the experience that they've had with another life coach or an experience that they've heard someone that they know has had with a life coach. And sadly, that experience may not have been the best. So what do they automatically do is they assume that you are a life coach similar to that bad experience. And you may not be that person at all. You've got real skills and a real niched area where you support your clients. But unfortunately, the people that you're introducing yourself to will never know that because of the fact that you've just used your title. So avoid just using titles. The second example where I share my title and then a little bit more about the businesses who are struggling with marketing, it's still ambiguous. And what I mean by ambiguous, it's still too broad. What businesses specifically? Service-based businesses, coaches and consultants, product-based businesses. Who are you dealing with your clients? What's specific? Is there a specific niche that you can really hone into? And then when we're talking about marketing, there are a lot of different facets to marketing, giving you this, experience as to this relative example. Now, for you, if you're using a way in which you're expressing your introduction, it may be because you're not specific enough. So be a little bit more specific. Now, the other way where I identified some of the key areas, it was too confusing. People would often go, what? What's a positioning statement? What online assets? Lead generation funnel. Please don't talk about that to me. They're too confusing, all this online stuff. It's industry jargon. People, your ideal clients will not relate to you if you're using language that is just way too confusing. And they're not going to want to find out more. So be mindful about how you introduce yourself. So here are some ways in which you need to be aware of. These are indicators of why you're not generating interest when you've got ideal clients who are sitting in your networking meeting or you're doing a webinar or a masterclass. It's how you're introducing yourself. And in a moment, I'll give you an example of what I've tweaked with my intro and how I might change that to be more compelling, to be more enticing. You don't know your ideal client well enough. Their problems, their challenges. What do they dream about? What keeps them up at night? What are the words and the phrases that they use? You want to be clear on those, because those are the words and phrases that you incorporate into your messaging. Also, you haven't distinguished yourself and your IP. This is the unique process that you take clients through to generate the desired outcome that they really desire. Your IP, and I call this, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment, is something that you can trademark, because it becomes essentially something that your ideal clients will talk about. When you brand your IP so well, it often creates, it becomes its own entity where people talk about, oh, you need to go and see so-and-so. She is, the podcasting queen, or she is the networking queen. She has got an incredible way that she helps you, identify and really build your network. What's your IP? Have you branded that? Is it unique? Another way is you haven't created a compelling program offering that showcases the promise of value and your desired outcome of your ideal clients. That's another area too where people struggle with. So what we're going to do today is explore each of those. We're going to explore each of those in more detail as to what you do need to focus on. Let's have a look at the introduction. I would change it something like this. Hi, I'm Amy Cross, the podcasting queen. I help change makers and aspiring thought leaders go from invisible to influential and profitable with a podcast, so they become known as industry thought leaders. Now, why this works for me is the podcasting queen. It's catchy. It's something that stands out. Change makers and aspiring thought leaders. I know that this is the language. This is what people see themselves with. They've thought about this. They may not openly share this, but these are the people that I want to call out to. And I help them go from invisible to influential. That's what they want to do. They feel invisible and they want to be influential, to be seen as thought leaders. So when you're thinking about your specific introduction, you need to capture that essence of what your ideal client resonates with, their desires and the outcome that you're going to offer them, that you're going to support them in achieving, so that they instantly think, I need to go and talk to her. I instantly will go, I need to talk to him. That's what you want to do with your introduction. Let's talk about the other aspect, your ideal client. I call this your lucrative niche. These are things that you need to consider. And if you have got these in place, fantastic. And if you're still not generating the outcomes that you're wanting and really standing out, can I encourage you to dive a little bit deeper? Take some time to get even more clarity. Can you clearly define exactly what your ideal client is struggling with? What keeps her up at night? What drives her? There's aspects of that really worry her. Even some of the conversation that she's having that she would not dare share with anyone else, but rather think about herself. If you can capture that, because you know what that is, and you can incorporate that and sprinkle that within your message, you are going to instantly capture her attention, and she's going to come up to you, even if it is privately via, online messenger or via email. Instantly, she'll want to reach out to you. Here's another way that you can see whether or not your content, so your message, is really speaking into what your ideal client is struggling with. One of the ways I recommend to all my clients is start to share some of that message online. Social media, some of those platforms, is one of the greatest ways that you can, through trial and error, really start to hone your message. Are you getting comments on your posts? Are people thanking you for your message? Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. I needed to hear that today. That has been so inspiring. If you're getting messages, fantastic, you're on the right track. If not, go back, do some more research, refining, and then share again and see if that makes a better impact for you. Maybe she emails you or she messages you privately telling you that she loves receiving your information. One of the things that I do, and I send out a weekly newsletter. I love writing. So that for me is something that I do enjoy doing. And often I'll get an email back saying, I love getting your emails. I feel so inspired. And I remember a number of years ago, because I've always had a weekly newsletter, even when I was in the career industry. I asked my audience, what is something that you would miss if it no longer was something that, you would have anymore? And someone actually commented, and I was so honored and humbled, said, your newsletters. I love getting them because it's inspiring and encouraging for me. And that's what I really try and do. I try and capture that and bring that message and bring that forward in all of my content. And ultimately, she's investing in your products and services. When you have a call to action, which is an invitation to speak further with you, to have a chat, let's have a conversation. Are people saying, yes, let's have a conversation and see how we might work together? If they're not doing that, then go back and clearly define a little bit further what that message is that's really going to resonate. The next aspect is distinguishing your signature brand. Now, you may have heard this before where you've gone and done some branding, but I'm really talking about the essence of you that no one else can copy, because it's got these special, unique elements that's all integrated. When someone asks me, when I'm thinking about my brand, Anne-Marie, which aspect of these things is important? No one aspect is important than the other. They're all important together. The sum of the parts make up, is far greater than the whole, or something like that. I can't quite recall that statement, but you know what I'm talking about. 3 to 5 of your core values. What are they? Do you know them even? Can you express them? And are you bringing those brand core values out in the way that you express yourself, the way in which you create an experience? So if someone is listening to your podcast or reading your article, or they're sitting across the table from you, working with you, is the experience that you want to create with intention and purpose, are the words that you would use to describe that experience and your core values? Would that ideal client repeat that back? If yes, then you're on brand. That's fantastic. If no, then you need to clearly define that and continue to exude that, bring that to life in everything that you do. What are 3 to 5 of your unique qualities? Your qualities, unique strengths are so important. And this is where we need to take that humble hat off, where we think, everybody has that strength. No. Not everyone has that unique strength of whatever it is. Someone will often say to you, and lots of someones, you are so good at doing this, or you are so great at that. This is so easy for you. These are the things that you need to take note of, because integrated within your brand is what is going to make you unique. So all of those things that you might have been disregarding, you need to be mindful of that and start to incorporate that, blend that into how you show up. Also, too, some of your unique experiences. Now, I am sure that there are situations, experiences, challenges that you have overcome that needs to be integrated into your story, because that makes you so unique. And it's maybe something that your ideal client has been struggling with. I'm a firm believer that the mountains that you have climbed and that you have overcome, and that you now are screaming from the mountaintops, woohoo, I've had a breakthrough. You've walked that mountain because you now need to be the hope and inspiration for others who are struggling. They're still in the valleys. They're still struggling, and you've gone before them, and now you need to weave that into your story, into your message, because people are going to look to you because of the fact that you've conquered those challenges, you've gone through them, and now you are the light, that's going ahead of others. You need to blend that into how you show up, how you talk about your story, how you bring that to life. Here are just some examples of words that resonate with me: innovative, intuitive, action taker, risk taker, breaking the rules to a degree. I have a saying, and I say this tongue in cheek, so please don't reach out to me later on after the trading today. But, rules are meant to be broken, especially to do with systems and processes. Why do we always have to do things the same way? Can we do them better? Can we eliminate time wastage? So for me, I'm always looking at doing things better, more efficiently. Creative, branding, communications, podcasting, these are all words that very much relate to who I am and how I show up. Now, distinguishing your intellectual property, I call this your signature system. Now, for many of us who are in service-based businesses, this is where we are selling our knowledge, our expertise to support our clients in going from where they are stuck to where they want to achieve goals, and they're winning their outcomes. But just saying that we're coaches or consultants, that alone is not going to cut through the noise, and it's certainly not going to compel people to want to work with you. So what you need to do is take all of that knowledge, and if you haven't done this process yet, there is a process. There is a system that you have developed. You may not have clarified it yet, but your signature system are the steps that you take clients through to get them from where they are now to where they want to be. And it's a step by step process. You need to define that process. You need to define that signature system, because that is what's unique about the services that you offer. Because those steps that you take people through, you've learned that through experience, you've learned that through trainings, you've learned that through just trial and error. So all of that needs to be packaged, it needs to be spoken. It's your IP. No one else can offer that and bring that to life with the same intensity, the same storytelling, the same experience as anyone else. And once you capture that, guess what? No one can copy you, because they don't have all the unique elements of you. So that's how you're going to stand out in the marketplace. Then what you want to do is completely create 3 compelling offerings. You can have more, but I always say to people, when you try and take off more than you can chew, when you stretch yourself too thin, it can become confusing. So if you've got too many offerings, that's an aha for many of you. You've got too many offerings, so people are overwhelmed. They don't know which is the best choice. And what happens when people are overwhelmed and confused? They do nothing. They'll say, I need to think about it. And if you're feeling a little bit hesitant around sales conversations, then of course they're not going to say no. It's not because they're not going to say yes. It's not that your product or services are not valuable. They are. But this process that you're helping clients to come to a decision, that just needs to be streamlined. So think about 3 main programs to start off with that you can offer. Good, better, best. For some people, the good may be the do-it-yourself. Some home study programs, something that can get people into action. Now, some clients of ours, they don't like to do it themselves because they know that they're going to buy another course that's going to sit on the shelf and do nothing. So the better option may be working with you privately, maybe one-on-one, a VIP day. Maybe you've got a group coaching offering which you can take people through. And the best is a longer-term VIP where you're really, doing it with them and doing it for them. So that you have to take a lot of the guesswork, the heartache, the trials and the tribulations out of the equation for your ideal client, because you're doing a lot for them. Good, better, best. What are your offerings? So the 3 stages of business growth, the stages that you should be focusing on, are exactly what I have just shared with you. Your lucrative niche. Who is your ideal client? It's very difficult to have a message that speaks into the heart of your ideal client and that has your ideal client attention captured and maintained. If you don't know who they are, it's very hard to be that thought leader if you haven't defined that signature brand yet. And it's very hard to really position yourself if you haven't got a signature system, your intellectual property, or your signature programs. What are the 3 simple and easy offerings that you have? 1, 2, 3. These are the choices, and you can recommend which is the best for your client, and then they can decide which option is best for them. That's what you need to be focusing on first. And so often, as I mentioned earlier, we jump to the leverage stage. We want to build momentum, but we've got nothing to build momentum off. And that's why we continuously and consistently spinning the wheels. Now, let's talk about why it's practically impossible to generate clients from sales conversations. And you've got to stop doing discovery calls, curious conversations, coffee chats, unless you have these things in place first. Here's why. Often discovery calls and curious conversations, and even the coffee chats, what ends up happening is we end up coaching and consulting, because let's face it, we're trying to prove our worth to that person, aren't we? We're trying to show them, hey, we know what we're talking about. We can help you. And it becomes that coaching and consulting session, which is the wrong thing to do. Also, we don't have a streamlined process in place. So what happens is we try and explain everything to them, and it becomes really overwhelming for our ideal clients because it's a lot of information. And we hope that what we're sharing, all of this information, is going to allow our prospective clients to recognize the value that we offer. And whilst they may be smiling and nodding, if you've got a, face-to-face or you're on Zoom video, they're thinking to themselves, I have no idea what this person, I'm so even more confused. And so sadly, the answer will be no. Or maybe you're getting, I need to think about it, or I can't afford it, it's not the right time, and they never get back to you. So you might be at the stage where I was many years ago, where I'm thinking, I'm just not going to ask people anymore because I hate rejection. Let me share that with you. I don't like rejection. Who likes rejection? Because what it does is it kind of has us thinking that what we have to offer is not worthy. And no one likes that. So maybe you're doing at this stage what I was doing, not having sales conversations, not having discovery calls, because by not asking, we're not getting no's and not getting rejected. We're playing it safe. All right, so here's what we should be doing instead. Avoid the coffee chats that don't have a set time limit. No more than 30 minutes to give you an opportunity to have a chat, both of you an opportunity to share a little bit more about how you might support them, because you just never know who may be in their circle. Avoid coffee chats that don't have a predetermined outline that both parties are aware of prior to the conversation. When I'm having conversations with people that I might just have met on LinkedIn, there is a set agenda where both of us have an opportunity to share, and both of us have an outcome that we've predetermined. We've set the stage, and that's another thing you want to avoid, that don't have a predetermined outcome, because guess what ends up happening? You end up going round and round, and what ends up being a 30-minute coffee chat turns into hours of coaching and consulting. Now, also too, something to avoid, too much time that you're traveling to the location, unless of course you've got meetings lined up that are back to back, or it's someone who really has expressed interest and you know this conversation is going to be one where you can enroll them. I would just encourage you to do Zoom video. Leverage the technologies that we have at our fingertips now to streamline this. Now, if you have identified a need, the next step should be a discovery session. So you should have in place a step-by-step outline that you follow with each potential client to identify. These are the things, if you've got them noted down, what do they dream about? What is that vision? Where are they now? What are the gaps? And what's the cost of them doing nothing? And ultimately how you can support them and the expected outcomes through them investing in themselves, through investing in your program. That's the outline that you should be following in a discovery session. And here's why I promised to share with you why you would continue to struggle with the uphill lead generation battle unless you do this first. How are you attracting ideal clients and nurturing them along the buyer's journey? Because not everyone that you meet is ready to invest now. I think there's, if I remember correctly, the figure is around 3%. 3% of people are ready to make an investment now. And if you've got everything in place that I've shared with you, you've got a process in a streamlined way in speaking with them through your discovery call, you identify that need and the gaps, and then you're able to share your signature system and the different offerings that you have. Your conversation, if it's with the right ideal client and you want to work with them, that's very important too. It's more likely going to be a yes than a no, because there's 3 different stages. I've kind of summarized them in 3 key areas of the buyer cycle. There's awareness that they have an issue. There's consideration that, you know what, I really do need to do something because I've been stuck with this issue for so long and I need to get it sorted. Right through to decision, I need to invest. Through to awareness of you. Awareness that you've been building content and creating content and building that know, like, and trust. So they're considering you. And then guess what? I want to make a decision, and that decision is yes, because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, as I mentioned to you earlier, some people have been receiving my newsletter for years before making an investment. Be comfortable with having conversations where people are not yet ready to make a decision. That is fine. But if you've got content and ways to engage with people, for me, I use my newsletter, the list building that I'm doing, and my podcast, you know, and the stuff that I share on social media. I know that if it's not a yes yet, it will be down the track when he or she is ready. I absolutely trust that and have, complete confidence in that because of everything that I'm sharing. And if the answer is no, then I'm happy with that too, because I know that he or she is not my ideal client. You need to get comfortable with that as well. But one of the first steps in the process of you being able to create and grow your list of ideal clients who you can continue to nurture is what I call your irresistible signature giveaway. It really is a digital asset. And this is a valuable resource that your ideal client cannot resist accessing. They need to get their hands on it right now because it's going to enable them to generate that quick and easy win toward their outcome. Sometimes people will call it an opt-in, a lead generation tool. It's all the same thing that I'm talking about here. But often when I'm working with clients, I see that their opt-in has either been irrelevant to their signature program and signature system, or it's so dense, it's so like it could be a book or an ebook. It's so overwhelming, it ends up getting their ideal client stuck. It needs to be concise and an easy win. Once you've got that in place and it's the right irresistible signature giveaway and you've got the right nurturing sequence behind that, guess what? You can continue to nurture your clients or your ideal client, this new lead, through their buyer's journey where they've got awareness and now, they're considering and then they're going to make that decision. So the 3 stages of business growth, which stage should you be focusing on? That entire lean stage where you're building foundations, your niche, your thought leader signature brand, your signature system, your signature programs, your irresistible signature giveaway, which triggers everything off. It's the first stage in the buyer's journey of your ideal client. That's what you need to focus on before you start working on tactics in the leverage stage to build momentum. Now, this leads me to ask you this question. I'm not sure why you showed up today, but this I do know. It's by no accident that you're here and something's prompted you to access this masterclass. And I'm a firm believer that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I do know this as well, that you want to build your credibility as an industry thought leader, but you're struggling to cut through the online noise and clutter. And while you're marketing your business as best as you can, you're just not building the level of engagement and that know, like, and trust that you know that you need to have with your ideal client. And now that we've gone through the other material, those key business foundations, you recognize that you either don't have all of those business foundations in place or you need to go back and revisit them because they're not working, they're not generating you the leads, and you know that you've got great work that you can do with your ideal clients, but they're not coming through your funnel. Now, you would love to generate a steady stream of leads and inquiries from your ideal clients, and you know that you've got a little bit of work to do. You've got some work to do in order to achieve that. And I hope through this brief time that we spend together, you really get these things, that I've made all of the mistakes and then some. So please, for those of you who have recognized that you've got some, work to do, don't worry, don't beat yourself up, because I've been there and I've struggled to generate leads and inquiries. And as I mentioned, be seen as that industry thought leader. And having gone through this trial and error journey, I've learned what to do. And this is so important, in what order to do them, because again, you can have a great tactic, that momentum building phase, stage in your business, great things, but if you do them in the wrong order, they're not going to work for you. And it has literally changed my life and sanity and results. It really has. And guess what? Before you start thinking, yeah, but who am I? It is something you can do. It really is. So the obvious question that you may have is, how do I determine a solid strategy, a clear plan, the right action steps in my business so that I can begin to build the credibility as an industry thought leader while continue to generate leads and inquiries from my ideal customer that I can continue to nurture into high-paying customers? So you've got a choice. You can do it slowly using trial and error. And some of what I've taught you here today in this masterclass, these things, can I really encourage you? You need to work on those and get them into place. The core business foundations, clarity around that. You can do it the slow way, or you can do it quickly using the trainings, the systems, the processes, the templates and the checklists and the ongoing support in my latest program, which I'm so excited to share in a moment. Now, everything that I've shared during our time together, including the successes that I've been able to generate, it's not theory. I've been able to do it myself. And I would not recommend that you do something unless I was doing it or I had done it and I was generating solid outcomes. And I've mentioned the word practitioner or the words practitioner versus educator here because I wanted to share with you, as I mentioned earlier, you've got a lot of people who are doing trainings out there, but if you have a look at a little bit deeper to what they're doing, are they implementing and are they doing what they're saying? Or are they just educators? They actually haven't generated experience or results from what they are doing. A practitioner is someone who is actually doing what they are educating, and they know all of the pitfalls and they know what to avoid and what to do. So again, I would not suggest you do something unless I was doing it yourself. But some of you are thinking, yeah, but Anne-Marie, you are the podcasting queen. You've won awards across both industries that you're working in. People respect you, blah, 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 blah. Seriously, I'm not extraordinary. I am not. I'm just a professional service-based business, but I had a drive to make a real difference in the world, just like you. And I was not going to give up. Failure after failure after failure. And can I tell you, a couple of years ago now, I had the worst business failure I've ever had in my life. It was a business partnership. We built all of the solid foundations and we had high-paying clients that were just generating great results, and we had a 7-figure pipeline. And for reasons I won't go into today, that all crumbled and I lost everything. Yet I got back up again, used the same principles that I am teaching you today. There was a lot of soul searching, let me tell you that. There was a lot of soul searching, a lot of tears, and a lot of coaching to help me get through that. However, I can honestly say that that worst business failure and that experience in my life was the best thing that ever happened to me, because that really had me focus and say, Anne-Marie, are you going to continue to completely go through the cycle of boom and bust, boom and bust, boom and bust? And I made a decision. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So, if I can do it, the steps I've followed and that I've shared with my clients, they're repeatable. They're repeatable. They can work for you too. And if I can do this, you can do this too. You can absolutely do this. So let me ask you a question. Do you want to build your credibility as an authority in your industry as that thought leader while continue to generate leads and inquiries from your dream customer that you can nurture into high-paying customers? Well, if you said yes, and I hope you've said yes, welcome to what I'm so excited to launch, the Money Marketing and Mindset Mastermind. It's a business building community for change makers and aspiring thought leaders. Even if you are already a thought leader, you are welcome to join. They want to make a much bigger impact in the world with their message, and they realize that as a change maker and a thought leader, because we are challenging the status quo, we are not meant to do business in isolation. We need to have that support team around us of like-minded people. And it's all about accountability, it's all about action, and it's all about achievement. And it's an ongoing monthly program, but I am doing something a little bit differently because we are finishing off 2018 and thinking about how we want to start 2019 and also continue 2019. So there's a bit of a special offering that I have for people to come on board, but this is how the mastermind looks. Every single week, we are working on something. Now, it's not going to be an overwhelming week by week, but week 1, we do a masterclass training, and I've already mapped out the full 12 months program, and it's exciting. I've shared it with people. It's on the website, and I'll share a link with you in a moment so you can go and check it out. There is some fantastic stuff in there that I can't wait to share. So week 1, we do some mastermind training, and week 2, we do a live masterclass Q&A. That is where we will dive deeper. Any questions you have about the content that we've shared in week 1, we're going to get that answered for you so that you can start to implement and get into action. Then in week 3, we're going to do a Q&A, but it's slightly different. So there'll either be one individual person who's in a hot seat, or there'll be a few of you in a group mastermind where each of you will bring an issue to the table or a challenge, and we'll brainstorm and we'll work some strategies for you so that you can get into action and implementation. Now, even if you are not the individual on the hot seat or within the group mastermind, I've been a part of a few of these. even observing and listening to the insights and the breakthroughs that people are having on this call is invaluable, because many of you will find that you are struggling with exactly the same thing as someone who is in the hot seat. So this is going to be valuable for you as well. But in week 3, we can bring anything to the table, any issue about another particular topic. Week 2 is about the topic that we've covered. Week 3, any topic at all. I know a lot of people will be getting in there and talking about podcasting because that's something that many people really resonate with and ask me a lot about. Week 4, we get into Rapid Action Day, but this is not an in-person day. This is something that we just know everyone collectively around the globe, we're going to be getting into action and implementing and getting ready what we are, what we have been learning in the last 3 weeks. There's going to be a virtual online summit for change makers and aspiring thought leaders. And I've put that on the calendar for October. So there's going to be some of you who have been working steadily and consistently and really generating some incredible outcomes with your clients with the work that you do. I want to feature you in this global online summit. So that's going to be really exciting, where we're just going to get collectively our message out there. The second bonus is behind the scenes power lesson. For a few of you, you really would love to be a fly on the wall, take a sneak peek at what I'm doing and running my business. So if there's a process or a system that you want to find out, guess what? I'll strip back the curtains, I'll take you behind the scenes, and I'll create some little mini trainings where I will reveal what I'm doing so that you can implement that in your business. Another bonus is a class that I'll be doing. It's actually live this week, actually, on Friday, which is really exciting. Overcoming disappointment. Remember how I said to you that I had my worst failure a couple of years ago? Well, there's things that will happen that often disappointments will keep us stuck if we're not dealing with them, if we haven't identified the mindset around that. So for many of us, what we end up doing is we end up playing small, or maybe not at all, because we're too scared to really step out there. Because guess what? What if we fail again? I know that I've been there and I've done that. And it's not what us change makers and aspiring thought leaders are meant. We're not created that way. We are meant to take risks. And so if there is a disappointment or a failure that is keeping you stuck, we need to address that and take some learnings from that. And that's what I'll be sharing in this masterclass. There's going to be community. As I mentioned, we are not meant to do business in isolation. We are not meant to bring our message out on our own and not be supported. So the community itself, which is going to continue to build, is going to be something that is of incredible value. Now, the Core Business Foundations training, remember I spoke to you about that in the first stage of business, the building stage, the building the foundation, stage 1. Well, guess what? Every single one of those aspects that I spoke about, your niche, your brand, your system, your programs, your digital assets, are all part of that training. It's ready for you now. In fact, I've got people who are part of this mastermind already who are working through all of these core business foundations, getting them in place so that they can hit the ground running. And you get access to that immediately. So here's what you're going to get in the Money, Marketing and Mindset Mastermind program. Week 1, the masterclass training. Week 2, the live masterclass Q&A. And for those of you who are wondering, what training topics will you be covering, Anne-Marie? Stick around, because I'm going to share each and every month's topic. In week 3, we do a member of the month live where we do a Q&A. He is in the hot seat, or we do the same hot seat but for a group mastermind. You'll benefit from that. And then in week 4, we all get into rapid action with our accountability day. There's a bonus annual virtual online summit, which is going to be exciting. Many of you are going to be featured in that. There's the bonus behind the scenes power lesson, where I strip back the curtain and share something that I'm doing. The Overcoming Disappointments masterclass, access to our private member-only community over on Facebook, and access to the Core Business Foundations training, which in itself is really going to launch your business forward. And of course, we're covering the lucrative niche, your signature brand, your signature system, your signature programs, your digital assets, which I love to call your irresistible signature giveaway. So with access to all of that and the ongoing topics that we'll be sharing each and every month during the mastermind, here's what you're going to be able to create. Focus on the right steps at the right time. So many business owners do the right steps, but at the wrong time. And that is the reason why they're just not building momentum or seeing the results that they hope for. So many business owners don't have those core business foundations in place. They never get them in place, or they hope that what they've got is good enough, but it's not. They need even further clarity. They're going to stop previous business disappointments and failures from keeping you stuck. You know, those disappointments and those failures which you just don't really want to think about. Well, guess what? We're going to deal with them once and for all, so that you don't continue in that feast and famine cycle that so many businesses struggle with. Marketing and sales, no longer confusing and hard. I love marketing and sales. It's an area of my specialty, and I'm going to show you everything that you need to do to enable marketing and sales to become something that you do effectively and allows you to connect with your ideal client. I'm going to give you the clear framework that'll enable you to create those systems and processes that you need to have in place to grow your business without having to work harder. We're all in service-based businesses, aren't we? We may have some products which we don't necessarily need to be there to deliver when our clients purchase them. However, many of us are providing services, our time. Now, often businesses who are service-based businesses, the only way that they can consider in increasing their income is increasing the amount of clients that they work with. And they do that often on a one-on-one basis. And there's only so many hours in the day. So I'm going to show you how you can increase your income, but don't have to work more hours. You're going to be part of an empowered community of like-minded people, change makers, thought leaders who are up to incredible things. And of course, being able to access them, you're going to be able to collaborate, and you're going to be able to make a much bigger impact in the world together. Now, are you ready? Are you ready to position your thought leadership to become known as that go-to person in your industry, grow a thriving business, while be part of a connected and collaborative global community that cares about you and the success of your business? Anne Barrett-Osvik was recently part of our 4-week business Foundations Challenge. And this is what she said about that. I needed clarity around my signature program and offerings. The information Anne-Marie shared was clear, interesting, and inspiring. And I'm excited about having far more clarity on how to build a signature program that'll make an impact in my clients' lives and will enable me to grow my business. Another one of my ahas was when I took the Branding with Archetypes assessment and discovered that I was an alchemist, ruler, and hero. Because I now have a greater understanding and clarity around who I am through the lens of the archetypes, this will enable me to use this across all of my branding and communications. The content Anne-Marie shares is valuable, inspiring, and help you get more visibility, showcase your expertise while get your message out in a much more powerful way. I found Anne-Marie to be an inspirational teacher who really wants people to succeed. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for all you have shared. My pleasure, Anne. And it's such an honor to have been able to support you. So what's the investment? Good question. Well, I have looked at various programs and masterminds that I've invested in over the years. And when I calculate that out for the full 12 months, it calculates to $26,068 value. However, for you, the investment is going to be 997 Australian dollars. Yep, that's for an entire 12 months of solid business building training, support, action taking, and accountability. Now, this is for foundation members only. Once the foundation period is over, the investment level is going to go up to $147 per month, which, to be honest with you, is still an absolute bargain for the information that you're going to get, for the community that is being built, the experience, the knowledge, the action, and the accountability, and the support, and the insights, and the expertise that you're going to get access to. $997. So your next step is to go to this website, podcastingwithpurpose.com/MMM mastermind. There's a secure order form there. You'll see the button if you scroll down that says join as a foundation member now. Remember, this option is only going to be open for a short amount of time, and then we're going to be opening up the mastermind for other people to join us. However, that's going to be at $147 per month. Now, before you do dash dash off. Let's just go through, give you a reminder of what's involved, what you get access to. I'm going to share with you, because I promised to, the topics for the full 12 months. There's also some Q&As that I'm going to be addressing. People have asked me questions, so these are maybe some questions that you have too, but this is the total package. Week 1 masterclass training. Then we have in the following week the live masterclass Q&A call, questions about the previous class that we've just done. Then in week 3 there's another Q&A or another mastermind, whether it be individual member or a group of our members. And remember, if you're not either the individual member or part of the group mastermind, you're still going to benefit from the knowledge, the expertise that is being shared, from the insights and the ahas that the person or persons in the hot seat is going to be able to implement in their business. You're going to learn from that, and you're going to be able to implement in your business too. Week 4, we're going to get into rapid action and accountability day. Now, that's not where we're going to connect, but rather working in our office, knowing that our fellow mastermind thought leaders and change makers are also going to be working on their business as well. Now, something that I haven't mentioned, but it's certainly on that page, once a quarter, we're going to have our accountability days where we're wrapping up for the 90 days and really getting into action before we start the next 90 days. So that's something else that's going to be implemented within the mastermind as well. There's going to be an online virtual summit, the behind the scenes power lessons, an overcoming disappointment masterclass, which you get access to, our private member-only community over a Facebook where you can connect with people and ask questions there as well, just to get some feedback, as well, of course, as our core business foundations training. That training is integral. It's absolutely important for you to get access to first. Now, let's listen to what Kim Siddons has said about our core business foundations. She's just gone through that particular program as well. Thank you so much for your guidance during the Core Business Foundations Challenge. I joined the challenge to get some clarity around my core business message and begin developing a strategy to market it. Anne-Marie was a fabulous teacher and mentor throughout the process, offering lots of personal support and feedback along the way. I loved learning more about how my own characteristics, my strengths and weaknesses can be reflected in my brand, and discovering the most powerful words to sprinkle throughout my messaging to attract the right people to my business. You can do that once you know your brand archetypes, and you've got access to those brand archetype cards as well, where you can identify some of the archetypes that you really want to work with. And then there's some keywords and phrases that you know is going to resonate with those archetypes, so you can sprinkle that. That's what Kim's talking about. My greatest aha was discovering my signature system. I hadn't realized that I tend to work through various components in my client work and can package this up as a system to be offered at various levels. Absolutely, Kim. So many service-based businesses are doing that. They don't realize that they can do this and have different levels, which means more clients are saying yes. You've got different offerings, and often it allows you to then pinpoint those high level clients, because a lot of coaches and consultants I see don't have high level programs. And Kim goes on to say, I'm excited to continue developing this signature system in my business and to create a variety of service-based products that will make a huge impact in the lives of my clients, and ones that they really want to invest in. Yes, yes, yes. The Core Business Foundations course got me thinking laterally about my business and helped me gain heaps of insight into my business. I will keep referring back to its workshops and lessons that I found super useful, and look forward to working more with Anne-Marie in the future. Well, guess what, Kim? I look forward to working with you further as well, and I know that you're going to be kicking all your goals. So once you log into your members only area, once you've gone through all of the investment stage and you log into the members area, then you can access all of the trainings that Kim was referring to, and I can't wait to see how that impacts your business. Now, here are some frequently asked questions, and you may find that you've got these questions too, so I'm hoping I'll do my very best to be able to answer these for you. Now, is the Money, Marketing and Mindset Mastermind suitable for me? So often I get asked this, if you're just a startup business or whether you've been in business for a while or you want to take your business to the next level and just don't have the time or the energy to spend any more time in working with clients. The answer to you is yes, yes, and yes. This money, marketing, and mindset mastermind, while it is great for people who are just starting up with the business foundations, and those core business foundations that Kim was just referring to, and even Anne was referring to in the previous testimonial, that's great for if you're just starting your business, because those core business foundations need to be in place if you're just starting up, or even if you're wanting to take your business to the next level. Often what I find with business owners who are in service-based businesses, they reach a certain threshold in their business with their income, and they can't generate any more income because of the fact that there's no more time in their business. Their hours have been maximized, and they think, the only way that I can think of creating more business is to take on more clients, but my diary is full and I'm exhausted. Well, this mastermind is going to be for you, because the core business training is going to take you through how to create your signature programs. And then being in the mastermind, you're going to be able to get feedback from others to say, hey, what do you think of this idea? Or I'm stuck here. Can you share with me some tips on some of the things and insights that you've done? This mastermind is going to be suitable for you. In fact, I want to create this mastermind because everything is going to be recorded and will be continual access to people who are part of that mastermind of all of our resources that have been pre-recorded previously or recorded, for the following months in the mastermind. It's in the vault. So you've got access to that. And I want to create an environment, a mastermind, where people will want to remain part of on an ongoing basis because of the content, because of the accountability, because of the action, because of the achievement, because of the community, because of the collaborations. That's my goal for the mastermind, and it would be such an honor to have you part of that. Here's another really good question. I've been part of training programs before that didn't deliver what they promised. How is this program any different? I am so glad this question was asked. And in fact, I was just asked this very same question by someone who is now part of the mastermind, and I'm supporting her, and I'm just so excited. The only thing that I can say, and I don't like to badmouth other people's programs, but I have heard that people have invested in sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in programs where they didn't get the training that they were delivered. My core values is around integrity and around excellence. And if I am not delivering content that is integral with who I am and what I have committed to deliver, then I'm out off brand. And as a branding strategist and as someone who is committed to delivering excellence and integrity, it just is not in my world. And I make sure that everybody who is accessing that material is generating value. If you are doing regular check-ins, if you are taking action, if you are stretching yourself and doing, and taking action, then this is going to work for you. How's this program any different? Well, I hope that from everything that I've shared and the successes that I've been able to generate through implementing the exact same things that I'm teaching you now and that I will be teaching you in the mastermind has worked for me, has worked for my clients, and I'm sure that they will work for you as well. If you have any hesitation or any doubt whatsoever, can I just say to you that my whole intention and reason why I'm launching this is because I have seen, I've mentioned this before, I have seen other business owners who have got an incredible message, but they're not being supported in the right way, and they're not ready yet to invest in the podcasting platforms that we have. In fact, I've turned them away. I've not taken their money yet because I know they're not ready, which is why, one of the reasons why I've created this program. I can only just say, look, I hope that through that time that we've spent together, you can see that this is not just pie in the sky. This is not just me telling you mistruths. Everything that I've shared with you today, I've either learned and implemented myself, in the past, or am still implementing it, and therefore because it's worked and because it's successful, we continue to roll it out. And I hope to see you in the mastermind so I can support you too. Let's have a look at what some of the topics are that I'll be covering each and every month. These are all of the topics for the next 12 months through 2019. Clarifying your vision, mission, and 12-month strategic plan. The next month, a 12-month marketing calendar that'll cut through the noise. The next month after that, because this is the first quarter, transform your money mindset by discovering your money archetypes. And I've just recently taken one of my VIP clients through this, and we just did the assessment, and I read out what the money archetype was, and she went, oh, that's so me. So we're certainly going to be working on transforming her money mindset too. The next quarter, your networking plan that turns connections into conversations, online and offline. Crucial conversations for change makers and aspiring thought leaders that they must have in their business that leads to inquiries and sales, and powerful enrollment and sales conversations. So that's what we're going to be doing in the second quarter. The third quarter, create your thought leader list building and nurturing funnel, social media on steroids, and writing rich content that clients and Google love for change makers and aspiring thought leaders. And then in the last quarter, speaking to grow your business, building your visibility and your client list with podcast interviews. So you are going to be a guest, and I'll show you how and to create compelling pitches and all of that good stuff. And then, of course, the year wrap up and setting the stage to maintain and leverage the momentum that you've been building over the last 12 months. So some incredibly exciting topics, all broken down in 90-day plans and goals. So you might be asking me, oh, you are covering a lot of content. What if I can't keep up? That is the reason why in the first 3 weeks of a month that we are dedicated to one learning, one training, Q&A for that particular month, and then an open Q&A for anything, that anyone can bring to the table. And then the 4th week, we are getting into action. And that's why I'm spreading it out over 12 months, so that every single month you can get skilled and get implemented and get that particular topic into action. Now, for those of you who already have got something in action, you can use this as tweaking to see what you can do better, to eliminate things that are not working, and to make sure that you implement things that will continue to work. So because we're doing it in a step by step by step, and we've got accountability days, and we've got time set up for you to get into action, you will be able to keep up. All right. That's why I'm creating this environment for you. And if you do happen to have to skip a month or skip a week or so forth, the recordings are always going to be there for you as you continue your membership in the mastermind, for you to implement and catch up on. So, there's a lot of content there, but great content. And I'm delivering it in a way that's going to help you build those building blocks step by step by step. So I hope that I have answered the questions that you have. I hope that this is a yes for you too. As you think about 2019 and the goals that you have to make a bigger impact in the world, to become far more influential, to generate far more income in your business, so that you can have the freedom that you desire for your life, for your family's life, and for the projects that you want to contribute to, that the mastermind is going to be a way for you to get into action, to have that accountability, and to have achievement each and every month as we work together. So I'll see you over in the mastermind. All you need to do now is go to podcastingwithpurpose.com/MMM mastermind, get your registration details in there, and I'll see you in the private member only group soon. See you soon.